Welcome. TBW Clips. I am Tyson. Today, we have a member of the squad, the only male member of the squad, Jamal Bowman. The squad is a progressive wing of the Democrat Party. He's just lost his primary to I guess what they're calling a moderate Democrat. Let's take a look and see what's going on.
Tonight, the fallout from an historic Democratic primary in New York. Westchester County Executive George Latimer knocking progressive firebrand Jamal Bowman out of the House.
And we say that we believe in inclusion of everybody.
Latimer bested Bowman by...
Now, if you guys remember, Jamal Bowman is the congressman who pulled down the fire alarm. And he said he didn't know that it was the fire alarm, or he thought it was a way to get out. He stayed in. He was not kicked out, although it falls under what some would say an insurrection type deal, right? The same people that January 6th people were getting arrested for. Some say that he should have got arrested for the same thing. Interrupting a vote, a congressional vote, right? Let's keep going. He stayed in. He wasn't ousted. So it's like the people have spoken.
Double digits in New York's 16th congressional district, which includes part of the Bronx and the suburbs outside New York City. Bowman is the first ousted member of the progressive lawmakers who call themselves the Squad, and just the third incumbent to lose their seat this cycle. The congressman, defiant in defeat, at one point lashing out during his concession speech after he felt his concentration was broken.
It's coming. Why you messing up? Why you messing up? Damn, I'm in the zone up here.
It was a bruising primary fight.
Yeah. He's nowhere to be found. Go ahead, get out of here, man. You're nowhere to be found.
One that showcased Democratic divides dating back to Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders in 2016. The two former rivals endorsed on opposite sides of this race.
Jamal's victory will be significant.
New York 16th broke records. The most expensive House primary in history. $25 million spent on ads, much of it from groups tied to AIPAC, a pro-Israel group at odds with Bowman's calls for a ceasefire and anti-Israeli stance.
So some are saying there's a civil war going on within the Democrat Party, right? We got pro-Israel Democrats and then pro-Hamas / Palestinian Democrats. And they're at odds with each other. So AIPAC is generally funded by the Jewish community. So people who are supporting Israel. So they put their money behind Bowman's opponent, right? And because of that, they're saying that's one of the reasons why Bowman lost, because of the money AIPAC put forth. Again, it's coming down, everybody's blaming, everything is coming down to money. But money for what? I mean, you put ads out, right? You have money. I don't think money is as much important as getting your message across to people, right? Maybe I'm wrong, because apparently the people who have the most money are the ones who are winning. Let's keep going.
That the central issue in this race as you see it, though?
It is, because he was recruited by AIPAC to run against me because I called for a permanent ceasefire very early on.
Voters here motivated by a mix of local and national issues. What brought you out to vote?
I thought this was a very important race to just make my vote matter, especially for Westchester County.
As well as the general tone of the candidates, which got colorful at times.
I just feel like Bowman is a little too aggressive. All the cursing, profanity, all the extraness, it's not needed because you're a man that's representing everyone.
But a bitter Democratic divide.
Yeah, they got to be fair. These are Democrats, right? The progressive movement, complaining a lot about the rhetoric from one Donald Trump, right? So if they have a representative that's speaking and talking like Trump, consistency would say they should have a problem with it. Just like this voter just said. So they're being consistent. So that's good. Let's keep going.
Over Gaza on full display in an area with a significant number of Jewish voters.
He's been a really strong advocate for the Palestinian people. Latimer wants to bring Israel and the Hamas to the table and come with a long-term solution. I was like, that's much better.
Those Democratic divides evident on election night.
Here's my thing, though. Lattimore can't do anything. He's a congressman. Okay, what would he do? His vote would be more in line with what this voter was just talking about. Okay, that would be the only thing he can do, but he can't. Is he going to put forth legislation to stop this? And what? This is not our war. I don't understand why the progressive movement are punishing their punishing the people who are trying to represent them this way, not understanding that there's really nothing they can do. It's not our war. How are we going to put forth legislation for a ceasefire for another country? All we can do is have our leaders, which these Congress personnel are not in a leadership to go speak with the Prime Minister Netanyahu, right, to do a ceasefire, or whoever's running Hamas to do a ceasefire. He doesn't have that power, Lattimore. The president does. I would think the chief of staff would have that power, right? But just a regular congressman, it doesn't make any sense. You're basing your vote based off of the war in Israel and Hamas, the war between them, those two. It doesn't make any sense to me. I could be wrong. Let me know down in the comments if I am.
We should be outraged when, unfortunately, some so-called Democrats are aligning themselves with radical, racist, right-wing Republicans. We should be outraged about that.
Past actions made Bowman more vulnerable to a well-known local challenger. He opposed key Democratic initiatives on infrastructure and the debt ceiling, and made for TV moments going after Republicans spurred questions about his seriousness. Plus, this now infamous moment, Bowman pulled a fire alarm to stall a high-stakes vote last September. He first said it was an accident, only to plead guilty to a misdemeanor for falsely triggering the alarm.
The fire alarm incident was inexplicable.
Now Bowman's primary defeat raising difficult questions for Democrats on the war and the political pitfalls it might bring come November.
It's much deeper than just about Gaza and Israel. He voted against some other things that would have unified the Democratic Party, and I think in a primary the base was not appreciative of that.
Ali Vitale joins us tonight from Washington after spending a few days here on the ground actually covering that district and that race. So, Ali, what do we know about Bowman's plans after this loss? Is there a chance he runs in a third party in the general?
That would cause problems in the general, especially because this is a district that is blue, but once you start splitting that Democratic vote, I think that could get people very nervous, Tom. The reason that nervousness might exist, though, is because just last night when I was last with the congressman, he was asked, would you consider a run with another party, for example, the Working Families Party? He did not say no. Instead, at that point, he said, we're just going to win. Of course, that didn't happen, and now it sort of leaves an open question. Could he go that route, or will he just end his political bid for this district?
This is the big question. Progressives, I think, are going to be ousted with the Democrats. I think Cori Bush, she's another member of the squad. I think she's losing right now in her primary, or it's about even, right? So, would it be smart or wise for the progressives to go and create their own party? I think there's enough of them. But will that hurt, of course, the Democrat Party, because the progressives are usually with the Democrats? So They say there need to be more parties. So what if there's four? Right? You have the Republicans on one side, you have the MAGA Republicans, and then the establishment that could be split in two, as well as the progressive movement with the pro-Israel Democrats. Right? That could be split in two, so you have four parties. Why not? If you have three, okay, the one party is going to take votes away from both, primarily, mostly the one other party more than the other. So if you have four stemming from splits from both parties, then you have the extra party that's going to take from both, right? And then you will have it more equal, more even. So that could be something they could do. I don't know if I explained that correctly or in a good way, but maybe there should be four different parties. There are a bunch of different parties. Let's not forget that, but they're not being taken seriously as the Democrat or Republican Party. Split those in two. I don't see why they can't do it. And then have four main ones, right? Or get rid of the parties.
District now.
And then, Allie, I'm curious, how did the vote break down in this primary, right? Because as we mentioned, you have the Bronx, but then you also have the suburbs of New York City.
Exactly. And this district before redistricting was way more Bronx than it was Westchester County. Now it's the Bronx is a sliver and Westchester County is the bulk of this district. So when you look at the vote breakdown, Bowman did really well in the Bronx. He blew it out. He got over 80% of the vote. But that's not where the bulk of the votes were in this district. Instead, it was really a 2-to-1 split for Latimer when you got into Westchester County. And I'll just tell you, anecdotally, I grew up in this area. I know a lot of the profile of candidates who have represented it before, and in my conversations with voters, it was clear many of them felt that Bowman was no longer aligned with that.
And then finally, Allie, what, if anything, can Democrats pull from this race for the general election? Were there lessons to be learned?
There are lessons. I'm not sure anyone's learned them yet, Tom. But the three that I'm looking at are the conversations that we're seeing bubbling already on Capitol Hill. The first is the ways that progressives are going to now deal with Democratic leadership. There was some griping behind the scenes about Democrats feeling their leadership, Hakeem Jeffries and others, didn't necessarily do enough for Bowman. Of course, leadership would forcefully push back on that and say, look, we respected the election results last time. We're respecting them now. This is what voters want. We just want to take back the majority. The second thing I'm thinking of is just the role of outside money. We've heard a lot about that from progressives, from Democrats writ large. Do they make a push on that, especially just given the amount of money AIPAC put into this? And then, of course, you've got another primary that's going to go kind of along these lines in Missouri with Congresswoman Cori Bush. AIPAC could be looking to put money into that race as well. That's really the next electoral test I'm going to be looking at to see if there's any lessons learned ahead of November when all of them will be put to the test at the same time.
All right, Ali Patel.
So here's my question then. Should there be a counter to AIPAC? How come the progressives don't have an AIPAC, right? There are plenty of people who are financing these protests, the pro-Hamas Palestinian protests. Where are they? Why aren't they putting forth money like AIPAC is? We're going to see. This is going to be very interesting. But what do you guys think of my four main party idea? Have them both split, the progressives along with the moderate Democrats with the establishment Republicans, and then you have the MAGA Republicans, right? Everybody's split, so it's going to come down to who can bring each of their parties together. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. I appreciate you guys, and thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day.